And NXT is same that now Miz TV is on NXT. And that was the first 15 minutes of the program where Dolph and Rude came out and then LA Knight comes out. And under normal circumstances, I would want to see Dolph Ziggler against LA Knight. It would be a good match. But since they basically beat the shit out of Dolph and minimalized him on their main program, then because he's an incredible worker, they send him to the developmental brand to win the title to get some of their top guys there over. But LA Knight, who is the best worker probably top to bottom in NXT, and B, doesn't need to be in developmental, and he's already in his fucking 30s. Now they're just feeding him to, another guy. It just, A Kid debuted. A Kid.
Oh, I didn't get
boy, is he.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because I didn't even see the promo package. I don't know what he looks like. I haven't seen him. What was it?
He's the same size as Kushida, and he works like Kushida. He looks like he's a 12-year-old kid, and he won with a springboard backflip off the top rope into a flying DDT, where when he grabbed it, they all just fell in a fucking heap. 1, 2, 3.
Let's look on the bright side. At least that was the finish.
I have a feeling it would have been anyway, because poor Kushida, Anyway, the one thing about NXT that I came away with was the Tommaso Ciampa promo. Did you watch this part?
I did not. I missed this.
Okay, this is the only thing that it was Ciampa coming out, and remember, he's been the Blackheart, and he was a heel, but he's also been a babyface, and they like him, but he's always the serious, tough, kick-ass guy, no nonsense, right? And the piercing eyes and the great look, his work has been great. But in this one, he came out, and he sat on the top turnbuckle for a while, and he talked about gratitude and how grateful he was to the fans there. And all of the original NXT guys that are still there that come out and do one of these promos, they come out and they talk like the asteroid is coming, and they're all saying goodbye to life on Earth. And it was like a retirement speech. He went over his NXT career. He thanked the fans for being there for him, praised all that they did together. The fans started chanting, "Please don't go." Where? They're making it, yes, in OVW, when that was the developmental program, the fans of OVW were sorry to see their favorite wrestlers leave because they couldn't see them live every week and couldn't talk to them and couldn't get their autograph and blah, blah, blah. But they wanted those guys to succeed and to go and be big-time TV stars and make money and be on big pay-per-views. Of course, then, as we've mentioned, they would get upset about every time their favorite would get some stupid gimmick, goofiness, and it would, Nick Dinsmore became special needs, and the Bashams were emasculated, and Matt Morgan became a stuttering idiot. All the top guys became, but at the same time, the OVW fans didn't hate seeing these guys leave, go to the main roster as much as not only the NXT fans, but the NXT wrestlers. It was like this was a verbal suicide note from Ciampa because he's apparently going to go to the main roster because he's been doing dark matches or whatever. But not only are they acting like it's a moment for bereavement, but they're actively getting the NXT fans in their building to not want these guys to go to the main roster and to fucking look on with horror as it happens because of this original NXT Black and Gold versus 2.0 thing. Yes, they fucked up the whole promotion. They made a clown show out of it. They stripped out all the talent. They made it look like a goddamn kaleidoscope of unicorn vomit and bad 90s WWF gimmicks. But are the talent supposed to come out and actually actively help foster the opinion in the fans in the building there that they're leaving to go to their dooms? It's the same company. It's the checks are coming from the same place. And Tommaso wanted to know his perfect fairy tale ending. Because remember, he was going to go to WrestleMania weekend as NXT champion a few years ago, but he got hurt, had to relinquish it. He was going to do it again, go to the big NXT show WrestleMania weekend, but he lost last week. So he said, is there a perfect way to close this chapter? I wrote, is there any way to close this promo? And finally, Ciampa says thank you to the people, and then Tony D'Angelo comes into the ring. He just appears. He's behind Tommaso, and he's got a crowbar. And he does his best Joe Pesci voice, like he's in a community theater version of Goodfellas. And he's got, who do I got to beat to put Tony D'Angelo in the history books? Who do I have to pay to make Tony D'Angelo history? So he wants to throw hands at Tommaso Ciampa at Stand and Deliver. And Ciampa agrees, gives him his hand. They shake the hand, and Tony D'Angelo knees him in the nuts. And then promos Tommaso and then kisses him on the cheek because he's a gangster, remember. And after that point, I was like, you know what? I'm not interested in the rest of this program. And I skipped Ziggler and fucking LA Knight because what the fuck? So Tommaso Ciampa comes out and turns out he's got a heart of gold and he's sniffling because he has to leave his fans. This was the fucking badass that was kneeing everybody into next week a few months ago. And now he's just wandering, drifting aimlessly in the WWE universe. Like a lost astronaut on a spacewalk. You didn't miss anything, is what I'm saying, Brian.
Well, I feel better about not watching it now.
I don't know what, I just, if I had anybody in OVW go out and cut a promo with that dreary a picture being painted of what, without actually coming out and saying it in so many words, of what is going to happen to them when they go to the main roster, I would have heard from fucking Stamford the next day, you can't do that shit. You're making us look like assholes. Their own developmental program is making their, and of course, Raw doesn't need a lot of help looking like shit. But their own developmental program is, to their fans, is making the fucking main program look like purgatory, which it is. You know what, Brian? I'll tell you what. Every wrestler in NXT needs to make sure that they do one thing. Just in case they need it, they need to make sure to keep their cars in perfect running condition in case they need to jump into them and make a quick getaway, don't you think?
Yeah, actually, I think this is one of the best pieces of advice you've had on the show today. Yes, I agree.
That's right, young wrestlers or anybody. If you never know when the shit may come down and you need to hop in your car and get the hell out of Dodge, I've worked by this all my life. I always have a car key in my pocket to a working automobile within easy reach so I can get the hell out of any situation. And folks, if you want to do that same thing, you got to make sure your car is working properly. You've got to go to RockAuto.com. Folks, there's all kinds of makes and models of car now. And as you see, famed rap star Iced Coffee does these commercials where he says you can't just fix anything with a wrench anymore. Now it's rocket science. Well, you need the parts to fix your car. And with all the makes and the models and the multiple varieties, you can't just go to one of these shade tree auto parts places out on Main Street and get everything. They can't possibly carry all those multitudes of parts. That's why you go to rockauto.com. They are the place to go, the center of the universe when it comes to car parts for every make and every model. Cars, trucks, motorcycles, boats, bobsleds, they can fix anything, folks, and they don't have different prices for the professionals, the people with the N And the do-it-yourselfers, they're the same for everybody and reliably low. Because some of these parts, holy mackerel, you can find different things to do with them. You can soup up your Chevy Chevette, or you can make an automated egg beater and put that motor on it. It'll just whip that stuff. You know, holy mackerel, you can make and invent all kinds of things with these car parts. Even if you don't know how to fix your car, just buy some car parts and just put them together. You never know. A lot of great inventors started that way, didn't they, Brian? Just bolting and nailing and screwing shit together without any thought to what they were going to come up with, and boom, there's a computer.
Well, no, usually there was some thought put into it, and there was actually probably a lot of thought put into it. I don't think that's how any of that happened, no.
RockAuto.com is a family business. They've been serving auto parts customers online for 20 years, so you can go to RockAuto.com and, as I said, shop from hundreds of manufacturers, great prices, reliably low. Why spend up to twice as much for the same parts? And if you go to RockAuto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car, truck, motorized tank, amphibious machine, or Tinker Toys, you can write JCE in the How Did You Hear About Us search box so they know that we sent you. You won't get a deal, you're already getting that, but at least they'll know that you came from us. All the parts your car will ever need, RockAuto.com.